Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heads and Dovetails. As I say every week, but it's a little bit different in this episode, with myself, Jill Harvey-Bush, and the lovely Jamie Hubbard. But we also finally have our guest that we've been talking about the last couple of episodes. He is coming, he is coming. But life gets in the way. Andy, and it's Andy Leech, isn't it? Welcome to Heads and Dovetails. Thank you so much for offering to be a guest. I thought you were our first one. Actually, we had our first one, which was Honor about
Honor.
3 years ago.
Yeah. Was it 3 years ago?
Yeah, about 3 or 4 years ago, Jamie, I think. So, Andy,
Blimey.
welcome. Tell us what you're up to, what you do before we get going, so people have a little bit of an idea about what
Yep.
you do.
Thank you for persevering with me. I'm an electric vehicle evangelist, which I understand is going to make Jamie very, very happy. And also, the company I ran, Fleet Evolution, is kind of uniquely in this marketplace. 75% of our employees started apprenticeships, so also really passionate about working with young people to develop them in sports and in business. And also, like I think a couple of the previous speakers, a horse enthusiast, so not just an EV enthusiast, which doesn't necessarily pollute in my view, but a horse enthusiast, which do a bit of pollution, which sometimes causes a bit of ruckus in our little village Facebook and things like that. But there we go.
I'd be out with my shovel, being the
People
gardener.
go on. Oh my, well, people go on saying people have to clear up dog poo, so why don't we clear up horse poo? You did say, Gillian, we were going to go in a random direction. This is entirely my fault, encouraged by you, but we're going in a random direction, literally about 30 seconds into this discussion. But yeah, people have literally just said people should get off the horse and clear up the poo, like people clear up dog poo, and it causes a lot of. I've been called a posh four-letter word, which I won't repeat, which not very nice. I was born and raised in a council house, so
Yeah.
sorry, council high-rise, so I'm definitely not posh. And most people who have horses aren't really posh, but yeah, you're right. Just follow us along, get your little scoop, get some free manure, go and fertilise your roses. They will look fantastic, and you'll be a lot happier just looking in your garden at your lovely red roses or pink roses.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jamie, you're into gardening as well, aren't you? We're both into composting and, finding stuff. And
Yeah,
I
I can't believe that people would ask you if you ride a
mm,
horse to get off it and pick it up. I mean, I remember we're probably all of the age where we remember the tap man who used to go around with his horse and wagon and pick up scrap metal and whatever. And they used to have a bucket and clean theirs up. But
Yeah.
there were, that horse was used to stopping and starting, and I think in this day and age, with all these crazy vehicles and things on the road and
mm.
speeds and whatever, no, stay on your blooming horse and let somebody who wants it pick it up.
Yeah, and plenty of people do. And I'm 54, so if I do get off, I'm not going back on without a mounting block anyway. So
Yeah, I get that.
I agree. And also, it's very different. Dog poo has all sorts of horrible stuff. And you can't really see it sometimes. It's small enough that you
okay.
can be walking along and not see it. Whereas horse poo is pretty large and, usually on the
And
road or on a bridleway.
and and now I'm thinking, how are you going to label this podcast on your website and just
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about
From
that. Jill will
from
sort it.
horse poo too.
Yes. Nice.
But you talked about apprenticeships, and I know, Jamie, you did an apprenticeship, didn't you, when you started?
I
Did you do a type of
I missed all
apprenticeship?
the apprenticeships. I really did, and
Oh,
and it was such a shame. I was lucky enough though to the Manpower Services Commission were doing something, and I was lucky enough to work under a pattern maker for 2 years. The youth training schemes, 25
mm,
pound a
yeah,
week.
yeah,
Ugh.
hmm
yeah.
Um, and I was working under one of the best trades, really. Pattern makers know such a lot, and that was such a good. Those 2 years, I can pretty much every day I do say a full day of work. I can pretty much say, yep, this was down to Barry. This was down to Barry. I was 16, 17, 18, and a lot of the I learned a lot. But you do the basics. You pick up the basics at the start, don't you? So yeah, and it's the basics that you do every day in my sort of thing. So
But
yeah,
I mean,
it,
my
it
mum
was
worked for a company they were called Wincanton Garages back in the
Okay.
day. And she was involved all over the country in HR, and she was quite known as being quite strong and was involved in all the apprenticeships then, bringing on all the
Uh,
mechanics for all the
yeah, yeah.
garages. and from Stevenage right the way down to St Austell and everywhere in between. And she was known as being quite sort of strict. And so many of them said they were so pleased my mum gave them a go, because my mum actually had a heart of gold and would look at some guys who'd been written off, at
Yes.
school or had been in bother. And my mum would say, no, no, we'll take them. And she'd do now you, young
Brilliant.
man, have got to,
Yeah.
And actually, what was really lovely is when mum died, there were quite a few of them came to her funeral. And it was amazing how many of them came up and said, if it
Wow.
hadn't have been for your mum giving me
Yeah.
an apprentice, they then worked their way up, and then mum gave them the opportunity to come out of the garage, if you like, and into management. And a lot of them had gone on to be senior managers and directors in companies. And they said if it hadn't have been for the apprenticeship
Yeah.
and being given the opportunity to do something other than academic, if you like, we would never have got so, and that was really heartwarming all those years later, from when mum had taken them on. So
Yeah.
how do you
So,
go about recruiting yours then, Andy? Do you
well,
put
ours
adverts
are
out
not
or?
ours aren't at all technical. So
Okay.
the apprenticeships we tend to provide are things like, well, actually, bizarrely, we've just taken on a new apprentice who's doing an AI apprenticeship, which
Oh,
is
blimey.
a scary world. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully when Skynet takes over world, she can try and rationalise with them or something just to stop them from wiping out us and everything in the UK. But we'll see how that goes. We've got people doing climate practitioner, things like that. But the apprenticeship program, I think, was really of interest to me when I was at school. I grew up in a kind of council high rise, so one
Mm,
parent family, similar background
mm,
to a lot of people. But didn't go to university, dropped out of college because mum lost a job. And because I didn't go to university in that era, then again, as you guys know, it was kind of I was overlooked for promotion, overlooked
mm,
for management programs, that kind of thing. Following on from that, just from kind of moving into sales where you earn what you're worth, and I was putting in a lot of effort, so fortunate enough to make decent progression. I was put in charge of a graduate program, and I couldn't believe,
mm,
no disrespect to graduates, but the quality of people coming through the graduate program compared to, but they had a great academic history and they were great at writing a dissertation and things like
mm.
this, but they had
Yeah.
absolutely no common sense.
Here we go.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
agree
just
with you
absolutely.
here.
Yeah, and not really a great work ethic in a lot of
Mm,
cases as well. So when I started Fleet Evolution, we had two challenges. I came from corporate life as well myself, Jill, um, kind of traveling the world, selling big software systems, which is great until you have kids and then you think, well, actually, I want to be at home. I
mm,
realise that big business isn't really that brilliant and that ethical. So set Evolution up because I thought that it was the ascent of electric cars. This is back in 2010, so I was wrong
oh,
and I
wow.
wasted a load of money then. But thought it'd be a real big one for the future, and it's great now. It's growing really quickly, or really well. We're up to about 30 employees, but because early it was just cash flow, I saw the apprentice program. I thought actually this is a great way of getting people with right stuff up here in
Mm,
terms of just attitude, ethics, morality, just people wanting to do a good job, rather than people with the right stuff on the CV and train
mm,
people up. So we started our apprentice program in 2012. Our first apprentice joined
wow.
us in 2012. She just did your basic kind of customer service apprenticeship back in those days.
So
And
that
she's
involved
now,
going to like 1 day release, as I would have known it years
yeah,
ago.
yeah, in those days, yeah, we shy away from that now for reasons we can chat about. But yeah, that college kind of day release doesn't really work terribly well.
Hmm.
Because half the people on that day release course want to be there and want to better themselves, and the other half just have no choice, so go there anyway. So you just end up
Yeah.
with it's a bit like having all the naughty boys in your school class, just all follow you onto that. Um, but then we've now at the stage where we have about 32 staff, 24 of them joined via the apprentice program,
Wow.
and the vast majority are still with us. And they do apprenticeships in, like we were chatting earlier, off camera AI. They do apprenticeships in climate practitioner. They do sales. They do HR, accounts. We've got people doing their AAT apprenticeship with us at the moment. I mean, it's fantastic for us because we get people who've got the right kind of skills and just the
Mm,
right stuff, and then we can train them up and develop them most stay with us for kind of 6, 7 years. Shouldn't say, oh my goodness, why am I saying those numbers? Instead of 3, I should know better. For between 5 and 8 years, let's go. So between 5 and 8 years, I'm even doing partly doing emotion. Oh my God. Um, and developing to senior management roles. And a lot of the ones that joined us kind of 5, 6 years ago are now doing a level 5 in team leadership and management and things like that as well. And it's just a brilliant way to get great talent for us and for them. Generally, people that have a level 4 apprenticeship tend to be on a higher income plus have less debts than people in their
Yeah,
mid 20s who've gone the university route.
yeah,
Oh,
So
well,
it's
yeah.
so it's really starting to get a lot of traction with parents now. Whereas parents and my wife, who was a head teacher, so went very much academia, would be quite very, very pro university to the detriment of anything else. They're now starting to encourage their kids to look at apprenticeships and to actually get that kind of knowledge. And even on our customers, if you look at kind of technical apprenticeships, we have people in the car industry and they're going the same route as well. And again, having the same results with
yeah.
people hands on that I do with people in the office.
But it's also because you get the work ethic going, so they know what it's like to get up, go to work. They're learning about being part of a team, how to communicate with other people. That's for me, university, yes, I understand. And it was, we won't get into politics, but it was in the Blair day. Everybody's got to go to university. And I remember my mum saying at the time, that's not right. There's a lot of
Yeah,
people who don't want to go. And what
yeah,
I'm finding when I coach, or even with some friends, who've got kids of university age or becoming university age, oh yeah, but I want them to go and have the university experience. And I said, well, I coach some of those older teenagers, young early 20s, and what you're doing is you're putting in what you had as a university experience, which is not what modern day students are actually having. That all
yes,
camaraderie and all the rest of it. A lot of the students suffering from anxiety, they sit in their bedrooms, they're on their phones, they rarely, they don't have to go to many lectures. So I say to parents, be careful. You're not putting your experience of how great university was
Mm.
30 years ago, dare I say, because a lot of the parents are in their 50s now. It's not like that now. They're not getting that kind of
yeah,
experience that you got. So I very much am somebody. I dropped out as well. Same, similar. I mean, I was a single parent family, not because my mum left my dad, but my dad died basically. So did leave us when I was
yeah,
5. And mum had, I was the youngest of 3. So mum had 3 daughters to bring up. We, like you, brought up on a council estate, latch
yeah.
door key kids. My 2 sisters went off. There was teacher training college. Now, back in those days, it wasn't all universities, was it? It was polytechnics. So you separated out into the skills. So you had the academia, which is your universities, if you like. There was teacher training college. So both my sisters, they wanted to be teachers. Off they went to teacher training college. I went to teacher training college. God knows why. And by Christmas, I'd left. Basically, I'd spent the grant, usually the Students' Union, and I've just one day thought, what am I doing here? I don't want to be a French teacher. But again, come through the grammar school system. So your only careers advice was basically university, teachers training college. And if you didn't want to do either of those, well, you know, sort of thing. So I absolutely dropped out and started a different route. I did my degree then via the Open University, but in my 30s. So,
Mm.
and then I knew which degree I wanted, which was psychology. But I absolutely see, one of my goddaughters, she went the route of she'd like to be a solicitor, but she went in as the receptionist with solicitors. And then she became they trained her up. So she then became the legal exec, I think they're called, aren't they?
Legal secretary.
Yeah, she became the legal secretary. And then she went on and did her solicitor's exams. And she had a wealth of experience, is what you're talking about as well, to take
Yes.
to in that role. Whereas people come out of university with the degrees but they
They're
don't
clueless.
have, yeah, they're clueless. They don't have any of the
Yeah,
practical experience.
yeah,
And unfortunately, these days, communication is really hard for them because it's
yes,
all done
totally.
Snapchat, WhatsApp,
Yeah,
texting. They're uncomfortable on the phone. Oh no, don't ring anybody. And you're just like,
yeah,
oh
Oh,
my
it
God.
is a bit of a bonkers world now, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a bit bonkers. Andy, can I ask you a couple of questions? You know
pushka.
when took on these apprentices, I'm going to ask, was this government backed? Or would you get any funding from the government? Did you get any help out with that?
It's I think when we first took on apprentices, there was a government grant of maybe a couple of grand. It's
Okay.
now down to, I think it's £500 each if they're over 18. So we get £500 as a grant.
To last you how
Um,
long?
well, that's it. It's just an encouragement. You don't pay employers an eye, so that's big. That's 15% of salary
Mm.
now. So you don't pay that while they're training.
Okay.
Um, you can recruit them at a lower salary. So we start our apprentices on 17k. So not
That's
we're
not.
not
Crikey.
there's
I
no
need
modern slavery going on, but they're getting paid an okay salary. Yeah,
17.
maybe not enough to go and party at the taxpayers' expense at university or stuff. And again, yeah, he said don't get political, so we won't get political.
Yeah.
But yeah, enough to kind of get by. And then
Mm.
once they complete that apprenticeship, they move up to 27. So they move up to 27,
Wow.
providing they complete it.
So, and
Um,
how, sorry, and how long is the apprenticeship?
it's typically 12 to 18 months, depending on what they do.
Oh, okay. So
So
Wow.
if
that's
it's
really a good way of you getting them in and seeing if they're the right person, them
Mm.
seeing if you are the right company to work for. It gives you like a sort of lead into it so that you know what you're getting. And then you can
yeah,
say, have you actually said, out of the number of people you've had on the apprenticeship, how many have you got rid of or have gone? You know what I mean? Have disappeared over the time.
got rid of probably about 15.
Yeah.
Um, Now, generally that's because they think it's college rather than work. So they
Mm.
think that we have had
Yeah.
instances where some people, particularly on the marketing side, seem to think it's more about their self-development than actually it's earn while you learn.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's the base of the whole apprentice program. So they have to actually earn. They have to do a job. They have to be functional and give us something. And the vast majority are very comfortable with that, especially as part of our recruitment process. Sometimes because I think just we have great retention with the staff. Not staff are brilliant, but they are quite bantery and a little bit. We have a kind of our culture is that if someone does something stupid, they're just told, "Oh my God, why did you do that? Don't do that again." And a lot of people now aren't overly comfortable with that feedback style, are they? It's instantly dropped. It's light-hearted, but some people just are uncomfortable with that. So we probably lost about 15, but we probably about 50 have got to the end of that program. There's been, I think, 5 occasions where someone's got to the end, and a few months out, we've said to them, "Look, I don't think we're the right fit for you,
Yeah.
but we'll let you complete your apprenticeship, get your qualification, write you a fair review, and then basically best of luck getting a new job." Mainly because we're a small company, like I say,
Yeah.
so we've only got so many opportunities, and sometimes people are looking for. We had one guy I remember who was looking for a sales. He felt he was a sales guy because his dad had been a sales guy. I was like, "Look, you're not a sales guy." He's working for an SEO agency on the technical side of SEO now, so he definitely wasn't a sales guy. So he went and pursued another opportunity and did so with our
And that's
blessing and still
also
exchange.
that's also why it's so good because it
Mm.
works
Yeah.
from both sides, doesn't it?
Mm.
Because it might be that, oh yes, I want to do accountancy rather than go spend 3 years or 2 years or a whole year at university racking up a huge amount of debt. Then it's going, actually, I don't want to be an accountant, for
Yeah.
example. It allows them to come in to see what the work environment is like,
Yeah.
to go, actually, no, accountancy's not for me. I'd rather switch. But they've not run up a huge debt while they're trying to switch from
Yeah.
one course to another course. I mean, I'm a firm
Well, I'll
believer
give you
in
I'll give you two
apprenticeships.
examples of actually the relevance of exactly what you just said. So the first thing I'll say is obviously generally if you're recruiting an 18, 19-year-old person, they don't know what they're capable of. They only
Mm,
know what academia has taught them and their
yeah,
parents' expectations are set.
yeah.
So we do currently have 2 people doing an AAT level 4 as an apprenticeship. So that's great. They will go on to accountancy in our accounts team, or may well one of our accountants has recently left when she got to level 4 to go and work for a much bigger company. So best of luck to her. She's doing really
Mm.
well. Um, we had another girl who joined us who her dad came from a finance background. Her dad and mom, because she's good at maths, were kind of saying, look, you need to move to accounts. I'm going to say something very, very, very judgmental will get me in trouble.
Right.
She's really happy.
Go
She's really
for it.
happy. She's really happy and really nice. So after about 6 months, it was like, look, you're probably, I won't mention the lady's name, but it's probably like you're probably a bit too social to be an accountant. She did, oh, sorry. This is my views, not Gillian's or Jamie's, so it's me that's if
No,
anybody's out
it's
But we
there.
know what
fine.
you mean. We know
We know what
exactly
you
what you
mean.
mean.
Well, it's a standing joke, isn't it? About, oh, you're an accountant or you work for the HMRC. Oh God.
Well,
Yeah.
she's actually a type of accountant now, but she's not counting beans anymore, if that's,
Yeah.
again, just potentially horrifically offend people. But she now heads up our customer care team because she's just so friendly. But she also helps with our climate reporting. So she counts
Right.
carbon, basically. She will look
Right.
at our customers, she'll look at their fleet, she'll look at what people were driving previous and look at electric, and we've got software tools that model the whole kind of consumption cycle of creating a petrol or diesel vehicle to actually build it and then run it, as opposed to electric vehicles. And she produces carbon reports for them, which measure their kind of scope through emissions. So she's now counting carbon rather than counting pound notes and pence.
But
So
that's the joy of it, isn't it? As
Data.
apprenticeships, you know,
yeah,
you can see other jobs within a company and go,
yeah,
actually, I prefer to be over there, or
yeah,
I quite like. Whereas university, you don't get that opportunity. To be
yeah.
fair,
You pigeonhole yourself, don't you, in university
yeah.
typically?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And then lose that kind of breadth when you come out with your degree. And as I say, that's where I have just joined the Heritage Craft organization, charity, but it backs all our heritage crafts. And it's something, Jamie, you and I have touched
brilliant.
on with AI coming in. You know, there's so many people, I already know people who've lost their jobs because of AI, and you think we're in the
Yeah,
infancy
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
And I just look at those and think those will be the jobs that will be where people, with all due respect, have kind of looked down their nose a bit as a plumber. Oh no, plumber. Oh no, you want to be a finance person in the city type thing. I think they're going to become the jobs that
yeah,
people are really going to be doing well. I mean, I know from having our house refurbished, you know, the electrician wasn't broke, the plumbers definitely weren't broke, project manager and all the carpenters and everything, they were doing all right. And you
yeah.
think, wow, as opposed to,
As opposed to accountancy and law and things like that, where so
mm,
much of the run of the mill stuff now is being done by AI.
correct.
I was had to go and have a legal discussion with the courts yesterday actually, and all of my research, whereas I would use a solicitor historically, was all done
AI.
using an AI system, and we won. So it's someone who basically damaged a car and was appealing the contract. And all the case law and precedents was just by this AI system, and it just made it so much easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
That's the other thing, of course. Sorry,
sorry,
Jamie.
which is good. It is good, but I know somebody whose position has just changed within a company to get rid of two people because he was managing them. Those two people have gone because now he is using AI to do the coding, that whatever. And he said, I've
Mm.
no idea what I'm doing. I know what I want. I know
But
the business needs,
Yeah,
but we've saved 150,000.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
And
exactly what's happened to a friend. She's gone and two others because it's actually a family company, part of her family, which made it interesting. And they do recycling. So the guys go and pick up all the cardboard and secure
amazing.
shredding
Yeah,
and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff. And they would always log in the load, and then her job was to log it all in when they got back for all the
yeah,
data. Well, they've upgraded the system, of course. All the drivers now have a little handheld thing and they put in all the data there and then. And she argued the fact, but it's only as good, if they put in the wrong data, you're going to have a problem. And as she said, her nephew said, no, it's all right because the system's so clever. If you put in the wrong data, it'll just spit it out.
yeah,
And she was
yeah,
like, well, I'm going to test this. And she said, damn well did as well, Jill. I tried putting in the wrong address. I tried putting in the wrong way, all the stuff that would
mm,
be wrong. It wouldn't let me go on. It spat it out. Three of them lost their jobs. As you go, that's when you're a small company, that's a lot of money.
It
So,
is,
It's all
and really for me, it's right. You three, now you've got a chance. Now you've got a chance to change something in your life. I know it'll be hard. I've been through loads of hardship
mm,
through losing my job building yachts, but it's so much. I mean, I'm alive, and
yeah.
I put that if I'd have stayed in, if the business was still going, and I'd have still been there, I wouldn't be around now. I wouldn't be around now. The way that businesses were, and yacht building was pretty harsh. I just want to go back to the apprenticeships a little bit because I don't know whether you know, Andy. I've got a workshop within a centre where there's a college for students with special needs, and
brilliant.
they're 18 to 25-year olds. And I've had this one young lad, and he needed to do this because his parents felt he needed some more practical skills and whatever. He couldn't. Now, bear in mind, he's an afternoon session, so he's already been at the college hours, and he's had his lunch and whatever, and he
Yeah, yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
get to my workshop for 1 o'clock. I know he got special needs. I know he's got all of that. But then his break, 15-minute break, would last 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. My job, really, to a degree, is it feels like you're babysitting them. You get paid minimal to have students. When they're good, it's great. I actually let this young lad go last week. He was late. It was
Yeah.
1:10,
Yeah.
and I just thought, right, here we go. So I started the email, and I was going through the email, saying, look, he's not interested. He doesn't really engage. He doesn't really push. He's not bothered. He doesn't
Yeah.
get here on time. His break times. So I started that email, and I got to the end of that email, and I looked at the clock, 1:21. So I pressed the button, and then somebody came out the office and came in down to see me in the workshop, and said he's not coming today. And I was just like, there you go. I said, why is he not
Mm,
coming? Well, I said, hang on. I know that we know that it's the end of the year for them in July. I said, but it's your job and the college's job to keep them engaged, to keep them interested, to keep focused for that
Thanks, it's the
period of
future.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I felt that she was being a bit negative. She started lecturing me a bit. I said, hang on, I've been here 13 years. I know how this works. I want another student. Give me somebody now that can get an opportunity to do something between now and the end of July when they finish. And then they can come back next year and we can do a year with them. Let's take advantage of
Yeah.
mm,
this. He's not
Yeah.
bothered. Let him go. And
mm.
and I mean they've got a hard job, but um they get through a lot of staff at our place. They really do. You know, it's like every 2 years there's somebody else. And we know why it's every 2 years, don't we? It looks all right on the CV, and it means they're escaping because something isn't right. Some sort of thing isn't right. Um, but the problem is when it is good, it can be great. When it isn't, it's a mess. And the lads and the kids, just some of them just don't want to know, and they're missing
Mm.
out. They're missing out. So I felt harsh getting rid of him, but I turned it around in front of her and I said, come on, I want somebody. Give me the right person. I've had the right people before. I had one young lad, 4 years, and he was great, and he was like a machine. He loved process. He loved going through all that.
But
But
again, I think it's, that's when I'll say to clients who don't know, and I get them from university, oh God, I don't know what to do. All the parents, Jill, would you do some sessions? And that's when I say, go. Actually, I've got somebody who's an adult who's realized, late 30s, I really don't want to be a computer inputter. And it's go try, but I don't know what to want to do. I kind of want to do practical things. I'm not sure. And go find something. Do a couple of taster days, do a taster weekend, do a week's, like I'm close to Lyme Regis and they have the sailing, they build
Yeah.
boats, the boat
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
place, but they also do different sorts of courses. Go do a week there and see what you like before you make the decision.
yeah,
Anyway, just going and then, how did you come to get into EVs so early? I mean,
So as part of a
let's
software
touch on
company,
EVs before we finish.
so as part of of a company I used to work for, I used to work for a 10,000 employee business, which was into HR and payroll. And I was basically a different country every week. I had spent some time in California and came across a Tesla. I am not a Tesla fan, so please don't hate me, Jamie. I love EVs. I'm not a huge fan of Tesla. Um, Nah, but I did drive the Roadster. I think I did have one on hire for every time I went over. I had one of those, and I was amazed by the performance, the quiet, and then also amazed as someone who grew up in a suburb of the city, so a place called Warsaw, and was quite asthmatic. At
Mm.
just how clean the air was around these areas and just the difference it made. The second thing that happened is I used to run a fleet software company, not my own, but for a big motor dealership, and I developed a scheme called salary sacrifice for them with HMRC, which basically means an employee. Have you come across the cycle to work scheme? Ever heard of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like that, but for an electric car instead of a bike. So basically, it makes a brand new electric car about the same cost as keeping a 5-year-old diesel on the road. So takes away all the cost objections. So I thought back in 2010, the company I worked for had gone through a big cut of staff. They had 10,000 staff. They cut it to 8,000 overnight. I survived that call. I was very lucky, but I thought, why the hell am I sweating blood and tears here
Mm.
when this is happening? Plus, my kids were growing up, and I was starting to think, well, I'm missing out on other key events. So I decided to start Fleet Evolution because I could see this scheme, salary sacrifice, in partnership with electric cars, being hugely beneficial in the future. And it was a great idea, apart from it didn't really take off till 2019. So I thought it'd be where we are today by about 2017
Oh dear.
because of now, again, you were speaking, you said we don't touch on politics when we're talking about Blair. Wherever government is, there's always been a
Yeah,
problem
yeah.
with inconsistent policy. And yeah, the policy was all over the place from the government. So it really stifled our market. Manufacturers are kicking and screaming about going electric. They really didn't want to go electric. They had to be pulled up there by big fines for their global footprint on
Mm.
CO2. So it took until about 2019 until it really took off. But now we're growing about 50% every year. So doing really well. Back in 2019, I think we managed about 300 vehicles, um, mainly Nissan Leafs, Renault Zoes, things like this, which were fine for the commuter, but nothing you
Yeah.
could take on a road trip. And now we've got about 2,000 vehicles we manage. Our smallest customer has 3 employees. Actually, speaking about hands-on crafts, they are a carpet maker, a hand carpet maker in Hereford, and they've had the scheme for a few years, always have 2 cars. Our largest has about 8,000 employees, and it just engaging with the employees and giving them a slightly different narrative to what a lot of people do. So some people are kind of in one camp, like the government saying, finger waggy, you've got to go electric, or the anti-EV mob that tell you will blow up all the time and there's nowhere to charge and all these kind of things. Whereas I'm a bit more honest, if you are a bit immature like me, they're really quick and really good fun. If you're into your comforts and your gadgets, they've got all the latest tech on them. I've just bought my daughter an 8-year-old Nissan Leaf as a first car because there's no way, unless she goes completely deaf to beep, she's ever going to be able to crash that thing without being very, very aware of it. Um, and if you're into obviously the climate, which I am as well, then again, I'm sure Jamie will have a view on this, but they are great on the whole for the climate, bearing in mind the industry relatively is still in its infancy, and there are
Mm.
still a lot of developments coming up.
Yeah, there's arguments, as we say, on both sides. I'm not an EV person because it's we were talking to friends and it's we've had various incidents with friends with electric cars, where we went out for a quiz one night, it was really low, and then they couldn't find something to do, I think it was a Tesla, they couldn't find the key, but then they couldn't lock the car. So then he had to take the car home. You know what I mean? It was like something to do with the key. He says, well, I can't lock it here. We're on a road. So I'll have to drive it home, get the Mini, and then I'll drive back again. Because then at least at home it's locked away. So he had to drive the electric car back home. And you kind of go, hey? And then a client of mine, and I think this is the other thing, is if you're thinking of taking it abroad, be very careful. He said it was the most
Right.
stressful
Oh,
48 hours he'd ever had driving from the Netherlands all the way down to Portugal.
but you've got to remember 2 things. The first thing you've got to remember is this is a completely different technology.
Yeah.
So especially for our generation, um, have you got an iPhone, guys?
Yes, I've got an iPhone.
Yeah. Do you remember when
Jamie
you
doesn't. He
first
won't have
changed?
anything. He won't have
I
anything
won't have anything
Apple.
Apple.
It's very very stressful, but it's yes, Apple do have a lot of a lot of background, which might make you try and shy away from that, as most big brands do. But yeah, when you first move from your Nokia over to the iPhone, you've got to learn to do things differently.
Mm.
That's what a lot of people don't do. They don't take the time to learn how to do things differently. If you can charge at home, which 60% of us can, because we've got a drive or garage, it's really easy. And your everyday trips, anything below 200 miles, is simplicity personified. If you can't charge at home, don't go electric at the moment. That will change at some point. But if you're in an apartment block, if you're in a terraced housing,
Yeah.
if you're in you mentioned your near Lyme Regis, some of those little streets just by the seaside, you can't put a charge point there. It's not the right time to go electric because you're losing all the convenience and you're paying quite a lot for that electricity, as opposed to me at home. I pay about £4 for 200 miles range in my car, which is perfect for me. The second thing is you do have to kind of think if we just invented a car today and you had a choice between petrol, which has to be refined, dug out the ground, all that kind of stuff, and all the high cost emissions, and electric, I think most people with a clean slate, I can't imagine many people would go for actual petrol or diesel if they had no previous experience. So it is quite an archaic technology. But yeah, I'm going off to Antibes in south of France next month. So I've done that route a few times, but all you need to do, just download an app called ZapMap and just plan your route. You do need to get the perfect result. You do need to spend 5 minutes planning your route. I'll drive 100 miles. I'll pull off and charge. I won't wait till I'm down to 5 miles like I would potentially in a petrol or diesel. I will charge when I've kind of done about 100, 150 miles, something like 120 miles. A, because I've got a car full of kids and I want to break every 3 hours, and B, because I said earlier, I'm 54 years old and I want to break every 2 to 3 hours as well.
Whereas I'm a go, go, go. So I drive from Devon up to Surrey, which I'll be doing actually next week. And that's where I don't stop. I just go, and if I do stop, it's for a pee stop, and then I'm in, out, gone. I don't want to sit and wait.
You've got to frame it mentally, just slightly differently. I know you're big on positive mental attitude and
absolutely.
and all that kind of stuff. So instead of thinking it as a hindrance that you need to charge, think how much time you're actually saving and money you're saving when you charge at home. Literally, I'm coming down to not quite your part of the world, but close to there. I'm going down to Bream this afternoon in Somerset. My car's on charge now. I'll get down in my car because it's not the most efficient because it's an Audi. Audi have always been line dirty toe rags about range and economy, whether it's petrol, diesel, electric. And I lie about my car. If I tell me to do 280 miles, I'll get 200 out of it. And I'm kind of happy with that because I know Audi are liars. So that's and I have had snotty letters from them for saying that before, but hey ho, stop lying, I'll stop saying it. So I'll get down. I could get down probably to south of Bristol, Gordana, I think. Not Gordana.
It's the Gordana services.
Yeah. But I won't. So I'll stop at Gloucester because they're just a lot nicer.
Oh, they're much nicer. Our favourite services. This is a whole other podcast here. We'll divert to go to my son in Milton Keynes. We'll go up the M5 and go to Gloucester services. Because
actually, I just said top 10 favourite services, but actually there's only really two, aren't there? Yes. Which would be that one and Tenby. I stopped there for two reasons. A, because I really like it, but B, and this is the other crucial thing. You look on ZapMap, they've got something like 30 charge points there. So if I get there and there happens to be a couple of people doing a podcast, a couple of other people walking the dog, I haven't got to sit there and wait like I would have to at a Starbucks or a pub because those charge points are full. And you can see all this. So minimum preparation, you can plan charge stops very, very easily. You know, it's very easy. You just need to adapt how you
approach
make those long trips. And we help people do it.
It is a different mindset. My brother did last week or was it the week before? He did a week in France. He went on his own. He's got a Polestar 2 thing. And there was nothing really. My mum was sort of my mum was the sort of go-between between me and my brother. And I said, how's he doing? Oh, he's doing all right. He's doing this today. And it was the hottest day of the year in France when we had the hottest day of the year here. And he was travelling that day. So it was fine. got the aircon all the time, and
Yeah.
where he stopped, he plugged in and charged and stayed in the car and did a couple of bits while he was doing that, and then travelled on again, and he had a great time. But no, there were no. I don't think there were any real. I don't think there was definitely no nightmare things. You've got to be all in really to get the benefit of it. I think if you're sort of halfway, don't bother, because you'll be looking for the faults.
Like
You'll be
any
looking for.
change, you've got to adopt change with a positive mindset, haven't
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
straight away you'll find the results.
There you
And
go.
yeah, I mean, I've now been electric for over a decade. I used to have a Tesla Model S, hated it. My wife had to leave, so I've been electric for just over a decade. And I remember at a farm near here, I'm just in the Staffordshire countryside, a tractor reversed into my Jaguar, which is my previous electric car. And my Jaguar was off the road being repaired. Luckily, not too much damage. It was just off the trailer. But off the road being repaired, I had to have a diesel Land Rover. And
Nice.
oh my God, the two times I had to pull over and charge up my car, fill up my car. I was so stressed because I was sitting there. It seemed like to me, people probably only about 3 minutes, but it seemed like to me, people doing their week shopping in the Tesco Metro attached to this petrol station before
It
they came
happened.
out. And I was just so wound up by the whole thing. I was just getting, you get just so wound up in the car because you just got a little bugbear and you behaving like a sport kid. That was me. Everything was being thrown around, my glass was being thrown around. Whereas, of course, yeah, on a car, if I'm going to, when I'm coming down to Somerset later, I'll just stop at Gloucester Services. I'll come off, I'll get myself a nice coffee, maybe a steak pie.
Yeah.
I'll try and avoid the desserts because they have
Oh, they're
very, very nice.
amazing.
Yeah, shush. No, not
Shush,
terrible.
shush,
Don't have them.
shush. We'll have to finish the
I'll
podcast
try
here
and just have a
now.
punnet of strawberries. And yeah, I'll just sit there. I'll catch up on my work, or catch up on other stuff. Go down a rabbit hole on YouTube. I went down on some random topic. It's Titanic at the moment for some reason, because I seem to be obsessed by that ship. And yeah, just spend hopefully more quality time rather than just having every week go to a petrol station and spend 80 quid on diesel. But
Yeah.
each their own, Jamie. If it's not right for you, that's absolutely fine, mate. It's not right for
I'm
you.
not sure. I mean, just
Well, the
to
thing
end,
is,
because we are over time here, guys. Just
All
so
right.
you're
yeah.
aware.
I
No,
mean,
no, it's fine.
I lead a different life. I don't earn the money. I'm not. That's it. Um, my I really need to do a thing. I'll do a thing one of the days, Jill. I will work out how much my car has cost me over the last 5 years since I've had it.
Oh, well, that's exactly what
Yeah,
I did when we were looking at
That's the
whether
yeah.
we
thing.
buy on finance or not. And that's the other thing. I mean,
And to be honest,
we
I know
need
we
to have
need
you
you
back,
done.
Andy. We need to have
I
you
know we need you
back.
done, but sorry, but Jamie, if you've got a fully paid car that's reliable,
Yeah,
that's the most economically viable solution at the moment
yeah,
and the most environmentally viable solution at the moment. So stick to that until it
Exactly. Yeah.
kaputs.
yeah.
There
When
you
it
go.
kaputs, pick up a 5-year-old EV. So yeah,
We've got an Astra, 10 years old, very
yeah,
reliable, get it serviced
yeah,
once a year. We
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
But I'm a bit of a petrol head. And I don't even like going to an automatic because I like having my gear stick. I like being able
yeah.
to go a bit quicker through.
You're into
Anyway,
V8s. You're
that's a
into
whole
V8s, aren't
other
you?
that's a whole other discussion. I'm into F1, let's be honest.
Yeah,
So
I used to like V8s, but to be brutally honest now, I do miss the gear change, but they're a bit slow.
oh
They're
Yeah.
well,
electric.
I
On these
challenge
They're
roads,
just a bit
myself.
slow.
on
So,
our
I
roads.
like my gear change. I've had an automatic, and we went back. We had an automatic for a couple of years. I couldn't wait to go back to your gear change. And again, we're the same as Jamie. We buy cars outright. We don't do it on
yeah,
finance.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So a whole other podcast. Andy, it's been great talking to you. And apologies to the listeners. We are longer today, but I'm sure
Sorry,
you'll forgive
guys.
us. No, it's not your fault. It's because we're interested as well. And if you're up for it, I think, Jamie, yeah, we'd love to have you back. We'll chat some more.
Yeah.
The apprenticing, I think, is amazing. So well done you for doing that. I think more
Yeah.
If it's
more
of
need to
interest, we could
know
get
about
somebody on
it.
the next one. Yeah, one of my team on
Yeah,
there to talk about
yeah,
her
I think that would
experience.
be really
Yeah,
interesting to do
yeah.
that.
Because I
And I
think more
might
people should
grab you for
consider
my other
experience.
podcast, which I do as well, which is
Yeah.
GillHB and Friends. So thank you for joining us. It's great to meet you, and I hope you've enjoyed the experience with
Yeah, it's
Jamie
been
and
good.
I as well.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
can listen to us
Respectfully
when you're
disagreeing,
sat.
so that's good.
Yes, but that's what's missing these days. People don't
It is.
respectfully disagree,
Yeah,
and that's another
yeah.
whole podcast. So thank you to
But
everybody for. Go on.
next time, sorry, will be the world's shortest podcast, which is for our favourite services, because yeah, it's two. But there we go. So,
Yeah, but we
sorry.
could talk about those services forever, let's be honest, about what they offer and so on. So
Definitely.
thank you very much. I hope everybody's
you.
enjoyed this podcast. You've picked up some things. If they wanted to get hold of you, Jamie, and find out about apprentices, if they're thinking about it, they've got somebody, what's your website? How do they get in contact with you? Just finally, I like people to be able to at
Andy.
least give that. Andy, sorry.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
so fleetevolution.com.
Okay. So they can
So
do a
if
bit
anybody's
more.
curious about apprenticeships, very eager to speak about it. We won quite a lot of awards for our apprenticeships. It's something I'm really proud of because, certainly when we grew up, you were pigeonholed into a certain place, weren't you? There's lots, again, touching on your other podcast, Jill, but there's lots of you grew up with imposter syndrome and stuff like this, and apprenticeships are a brilliant way just to give people a fantastic start. So yeah, fleetevolution.com if you're interested in electric cars or just advice about apprenticeships. Very happy to speak to people about it. Quite passionate.
Great. Thank you. And that passion comes across, and it's really nice to hear,
Thank you.
Andy. So thank you very much. Everybody, you know what you need to do. Listen, like, subscribe, share. And if you would like to come on and be a guest, then please contact. That's exactly what Andy did. I didn't even get round to asking you how you found us. But do just email me or Jamie, and we can sort out a podcast with you. So thank you for listening. And here's to the next one, which will be in a couple of weeks' time. Andy, great. Thank you very much for joining us.